This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
This job would be great if it wasn't for the fucking customers.
You're always this stupid. It is you take lessons. Just calm down.
Oh, fuck you!
You can't handle the truth.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
In other words, be nice, asshole. Welcome to another episode of Cues and Cucumber, the podcast where we point and laugh at stupid companies, customers, and coworkers alike. I'm Lar Mac.
And I'm Tanya Edwards.
We are back, bitches. We were recording this after. I already explained all that.
Yeah,
in
the last episode.
Yeah.
Oh, no, apparently it would be the...
It will be the next episode.
It'll be the next episode.
We recorded a quick Theranos recap because Sonny Balwani was convicted, and y'all been asking. We will cover that more when Elizabeth Holmes is sentenced. But we have bigger news that we have to talk about because the events as of late have been like, it's too much. So we're going to talk about it finally happened. Ben and Jen are married.
Okay. Yes, I saw that. Bennifer is a till death to us
a
part.
20-year soap opera.
Jesus Christ, these two.
I know. I think it's funny she's taking his name. I'm like, what a fuck you to all of her other husbands.
Especially little Mark Anthony.
She didn't take not one of their fucking
none of
names.
them. But here
not
she
one.
takes Jennifer Affleck.
Not one. She did not take any one of their.
Is she gonna hyphenate it?
I don't know.
She should have made him take her name.
Oh my God, that's just funny. No, we're not talking about Jen and Ben. I thought that was funny. I
didn't know she was gonna do that shit either.
No, I did not warn Tanya I was gonna do that.
Fucking
I saw that
weirdo.
today and I was like, shut the fuck
I
up.
saw it the other day and I was like, oh.
Okay, so this is going to be our big political breakdown. If you enjoy our show where we normally talk about businesses and scandals and corruptions and just funny customer stories,
this is the biggest story of corruption ever.
Yes, but if you are not politically inclined as we are liberals, we are progressives. I don't say I'm a Democrat because Democrats are pussies. I just can't. But it's the only political party we have right now that's functioning. But if you are a MAGA person, if you are a maggot, I'm sorry, I will take that out.
I wouldn't fuck that.
Sorry. Okay, I'll leave it in. I'm trying to. Okay, I have finally come to this conclusion. I really, really have. Okay, because for the whole 4 years of Trump's presidency, especially early on, they were like, you don't understand the Trump voter. You live in your bubble and you don't understand their perspective. And they kept telling me to try to understand their perspective. And I was like, fuck that. But I've kind of come to a little bit of a middle ground on it. And here's how I feel. When we say they're in a cult, I'm trying to view them now as Scientologists. Like how I would speak to a Scientologist, that I'm trying not to insult so much that it pushes them further into the cult, but that's where I'm trying to be understanding. I'm trying to, because they are in a cult.
They are.
A cult. It is a cult, period. Fealty to the dear leader, whatever they say is spun. Like you can literally watch.
I don't know if I would. I don't know that I would compare it to Scientology. I would. The only word that's come to my head, or the only is Nazis. Like that's the only thing that comes to my mind is like those.
You know what? I have references from my extensive true crime obsession,
right? As
to smaller. Oh, you know what? They are Om Shinrikyo. And everybody look them up. They were a cult in Japan, right?
Okay.
In the late 90s, early 2000s. And basically they carried out a terrorist attack that was Japan's 9/11.
Wow.
Right? They released homemade sarin gas in their subway system.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The worst injury that I heard was a lady that literally the sarin gas fused her contact lenses to her eyeballs and they had to remove her eyes.
Oh my God.
Like it was horrendous. But they were beholden to this man that was a con artist. He was a yoga magician, okay? And he had a philosophy that some people would make. There was one guy that helped carry out the attack in college. He would make fun of the cult leader, because the cult leader was out and open and very well known, like, in the whole nine. And he actually did an impression of him. He thought he was a joke, but somehow got converted. It's like those people that voted for Obama, but somehow voted for Trump as well.
Right.
I think Om Shinrikyo should be we should really look at that. Okay. But we'll get off that. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is our breakdown of the 1/6 hearings, the January 6th House congressional hearings about what the fuck happened. And I gotta say, I know that there was so much, what's the word I'm looking for? There was so much hay made on the right about how the 1/6 commission had hired a television producer. I think it was like from Dateline or something,
right,
to help them put the presentations together. Right. I know they made a lot of they got a lot of shit for that.
But I say good on them.
I'm doing the gay slow clap.
Good on them.
Whoever that producer is, you deserve a
right. I wonder at the
Emmy.
end of this, are they going to roll credits? Like, I need to know.
I wonder if he could be nominated for an Emmy.
I would like, because they do like reality.
I was an Emmy voter. I would vote for
right.
it.
So just the way, I mean, and it's not like it's been like, okay, pan over to, this person, or
it kind of is though.
But it's not.
It's
done,
choreographed.
but it's right. But it's not done in like a reality TV sort of way. It's done.
It walks a line.
Yeah.
And here, y'all, you
but
haven't
the way
heard...
that they are splicing in like the testimonies that's been given pre-recorded,
yeah,
all of that stuff, the way that they're putting that in and then coming to it in live time and in real time, like, okay, so this is what they said, and then they break it the fuck down, and then they bring in a witness to corroborate what that person just fucking said.
Yep.
And sometimes they bring in the person who was on the video.
Yep.
So this is what this whole thing.
I was so well done. And Tanya and I, we are huge. Not only are we huge political junkies, but we were working together during the years of ABC's Shonda Rhimes masterpiece.
Shonda Rhimes is a fucking genius.
Oh my God. Scandal. We were obsessed with Scandal. And the fact it was a political show just helped.
Right.
We were obsessed. And Tanya and I realized very quickly with these 1/6 hearings that we have been speaking to each other about them as if they are episodes of Scandal.
And I told Grandma this, and she was like, you two are nuts.
I'm telling you, I wish they would have, like, in the pre-show because the news stations do an hour-long pre-show before the show, which is fucking amazing, like it's the goddamn Super Bowl.
And then the breakdown afterwards.
You should know they should have a previously on the 1/6 hearings. Like
right.
Because every hearing you learn something else that you're like, wait a minute, fucking what?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Okay. So,
and can I just say that I love that they're mixing it up? Like, so the ones that were on during the day, I would just have my ear pods in and I would be listening to it. And every once in a while I would look at my phone just to see like, oh, that's who that is. Okay.
Yeah.
But I really love the fact that the first few and then the one tomorrow are going to be primetime. Yeah. Oh yeah. That just really, like, I haven't been able to watch the news or see anything today at all since I left my house this morning.
Yeah.
So this morning, because I watch the news whenever I'm getting ready for work, and then whenever I get home, so I try to watch Ari Melber, and Joy Reid, and then our girl Rachel Maddow.
I'm down to Nicole Wallace, Chris Hayes, and Rachel. Those are my.
Yeah, and then I watch it, and then of course I watch it in the morning while I'm getting ready for work. Like. Yeah. I get up between 4:30 and 5, and it comes on. Morning Joe comes on at 4.
I think it's so hilarious when Nicole Wallace has her new husband, Michael Schmidt, on her show because he's a reporter for the New York Times. She has a show on MSNBC. He comes on and offers commentary all the time, and she has to say to him, like, he's a fucking colleague. So Michael Schmidt, instead of being like, so honey, can you tell them about, I would pay money if one day she's just like, sweetheart, can you please explain to everybody what you learned?
This morning for the first time, I heard Mika say, please excuse my husband.
Yes, I know.
I was like, And that was the first time.
MSNBC feels just like a weird HR something.
Please
I don't know
excuse
what's
my husband. Joe, that's enough.
Joe, I love them. I
They're
can't
so
help
funny.
it.
They're
When
so
they
goofy.
act like the Saturday Night Live versions of themselves,
yeah, they're,
it's the funniest shit. Like they don't. That's just who they are.
And,
They don't shy away from it.
Every
It's
once in a
fucking
while, I'll
hilarious.
look up and like Joe and Willie, and then we'll be talking about something totally off topic, or they'll just be going
They're
off
going
on a
on
fucking,
baseball.
or they'll be going off on a tangent about how something directly is like linked to this or whatever, and then they'll start saying stupid shit like they were. It was either yesterday or this morning. Just saying stupid shit about how stupid these people are, and her face was just like, "That's enough."
And
Okay,
then
let's move on.
she'll say, "Okay, let's move on."
Let's
to
move
actual
on.
news."
Yeah.
By the way, we're having a thunderstorm outside. If y'all can hear it, I apologize. I just heard some thunder. Yeah. Whatever. Okay, so I actually broke down bullet points because they've put this together so masterfully.
Beautifully.
Every episode, and I will just call them episodes.
Because that's how we call them. That's what we call them.
That's what they are. Every episode has had a very
theme.
has taken a part of it, and when you line it all up, it separately it looks bad. But my God, when you stack these pillars like next, I don't know if they're pillars or a foundation or what, but when you put them all together, it makes a fucking house.
Right, but whenever
Like,
then a
If it
lot
looks like
of
a house, it's a house. Like
a lot of the points,
damn
a
it.
lot of the episodes are hitting on everything that we've been saying over the last 6 years and everything that came to light on January 6th. And it all just came together.
And the fact that there's no fucking maggots on this committee that are just showboating, asking stupid questions like fucking Jim Jordan.
that
who I don't-
sweaty little bastard.
I don't want to hear nothing from you. You've never seen a sexual assault you weren't willing to cover up. So fuck you. I don't know. No. And the fact you asked for a motherfucking pardon, no, you did not belong on this committee. Eat my dick. Now, I have this broken down. So first bullet point. As a baseline, what we learned early on, there was team normal and team crazy.
Yes.
Okay? So
Yes.
let's
And
just
they were
define-
all Trump supporters.
They were
all Trump supporters.
But there were some of them that truly seemed to believe in the mission. These are the people that thought, yeah, I don't like him personally and blah, 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 but he's getting us our judges, he's getting us our tax cuts, and I'll support him because he's getting it done. And no other president has gotten it done. So that's why they supported him. And you could see that. But when it came to this, they were like, wait
the fuck
just
up.
a fucking minute. And these were the people that these are the Leah Remini's. That the team normal are the Leah Remini's. If we're taking our Scientology example, they are the Leah Remini's who finally see something. Like,
And they're like, wait a minute, that's not right.
it's like, hold the fuck up. That's why I say they're in a cult. These guys literally finally, sorry for the thunder, that I'm not farting, I swear.
Yes, you did.
I am, probably. It's my stomach. George is making me a hamburger. But these people finally reached that Leah Remini moment of, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out.
yeah. This is
I'm
too
out.
much. This is too much.
I don't
for
want
me.
to go to jail.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, what have we heard lately? If he goes,
Yeah,
we're going to get charged
So,
with everything under the sun.
Just as a baseline, members of Team Normal, they told Trump he lost. And that was the first thing they established, and I thought that was smart. And at first, my dad was like, they didn't say anything new, Trump lost, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, this is important. This is important. If I've learned anything from watching the amazing and incredible Emily D. Baker, is prosecutions, which this isn't a formal court, but they are treating it like a prosecution.
As they should, because charges can very well come from this.
Absolutely. The prosecution has smartly, my dad going, we know Trump lost. A lot of people fucking don't.
Right. And or they just do not believe it.
So establishing early on and this is very important that they establish this early on, not from Democrats, from Trump supporters. Like
Republicans.
Barr, Hirschman, I call him Patsy Baloney because that's what it shows up on the CCTV.
It did.
It's Pat Cipollone, but he shows up on the CCTV as Patsy Baloney. So I'm just going to call him Patsy Baloney because
She sent me a picture of that.
fuck him. Because
Patsy Baloney.
honestly, because fuck him.
I feel like that's
Fuck
an
him.
awesome gangster name. Yeah, this is Patsy Baloney.
All these people that are like, oh, he did the right thing in the end.
In the end.
Yeah, and he also defended Trump in the first impeachment. He was his lead counsel. So, no, not a fucking hero. All right, whatever. And honestly, the other member of Team Normal that I fucking hate to give credit to, but have to, Pence.
Yeah.
Team Normal. Now, Team Crazy. Flynn, and I will fucking refuse to call him General Flynn. He is not General Flynn.
No.
He betrayed that title on a level that is hard to fucking describe, and I will not call him General Flynn. He is Flynn. Bannon, Giuliani, the My Pillow guy, the Kraken crackpot, okay, drinking a Diet Dr. Pepper, what the fuck, and the Overstock guy. Okay, these were the guys, these were the people telling Trump what he wanted to hear and that he could just steal this election. These are the people telling him what he wanted to hear. So they did a great.
They thought they were kingmakers.
Absolutely, and they text and Meadows too. Meadows, I struggle to understand. I think here's ultimately where I've landed on Meadows. Mark Meadows, chief of staff. Where I've landed on him is there is a concept when studying serial killers where they give themselves little allowances, right? They have these fantasies that they want to act out, but they're afraid of them. And they start testing themselves and getting closer and closer to the line. Oh, I'm just going to stalk this girl. I'm not going to murder her. Oh, I'm going to break into her house and steal her panties. I'm not going to murder her. And they keep giving themselves little allowances until all of a sudden they do it. They finally act it out, right? I feel like Meadows was giving Trump all these allowances and telling people, oh, he just needs time. He'll understand eventually. How many times did we fucking hear that after the election?
Right.
And I think Meadows did not realize that him giving Trump and indulging him like a fucking child, okay, was giving him those serial killer little allowances, getting closer and closer and closer. That is where I've landed on Meadows. I don't believe that he was part of technically Team Normal or Team Crazy. Okay?
I think he was part of whoever's going to get him what he wants.
Yeah.
That's the team he was on.
But the fact that these people communicated through texts and chats and all kinds of shit, like I really think they thought they were going to get away with it and never be held accountable for it. I really
that's because they thought they would all be pardoned. They thought that once he's put back into place as king, rightful king.
But again, once even if it didn't work and you thought Trump was going to pardon you, you forgot one key thing. Once he pardons you and you can't be charged with a crime, you have to testify.
Right.
And that's why he didn't pardon them.
Well,
because then they could testify against him and they would have no choice. They failed to realize, oh, there's a way that I could fuck Trump. And so he's not going to give me that way. Trump's not going to hand you a way to fuck him on like that. Like, yes, he hands you a way to fuck him every time he talks, but whatever. Okay. So the Bannon recording, he planned to call himself the victor long before the election, whether he won or not. That was the plan. There is a recording of Bannon telling a group of conservative activists this was the plan. Period. This was the plan. He knew, even if he lost, this was the plan. They very well I think the 1-6 Commission is very well established that this was the plan.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the first step in the plan was threaten state election officials. The stuff about that poor girl, that poor lady and her mom, Lady Ruby, like, oh my God, that's way too much for one episode. I don't even want to go into that. It's just fucking heartbreaking. But threatening state officials, the Arizona guy, Rusty Bowers, right? The fact that this poor man's daughter was home dying, and Trump sicked his people on him, and they showed up at his home with weapons to threaten him, harass his neighbors and every single Saturday, every single day, and sometimes while his daughter is trying to live out her last days in their home comfortably.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Disgusting.
horrifying.
It's
horrifying.
disgusting.
And the fact that they're telling, these state officials are telling them, we don't have it.
Right.
Like, if there's fraud, prove it to us. And the gaslighting of Sidney Powell and the rest of them, they would just say, well, what do you mean? You have the evidence. And they would just throw out, well, you've heard about, the file 87924 that, what's that? I have no clue. It's the gaslighting of them, of just telling them every time they ask for evidence, well, you already have it.
Right.
It's like when that reporter, I can't remember his name right now, my brain is blanking, but that reporter asked Elizabeth Holmes, like, can I see your lab? And she was like, oh, well, you remember we walked by that big wall of machines? That is our lab.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait, oh, okay. That's not their lab. Right? She's lying.
Right.
But she's telling him something, and he's like, he doesn't want to feel stupid.
Right. Right.
So
like,
just kind of go with it.
I missed that. Okay.
But these guys held their ground. But then Barr did the AP interview in early December and said, Trump lost. And apparently Trump lost his lunch.
So how many?
I find that story to just be the description of it is my favorite, right? Is this the first time the president threw dishes? Like,
yeah,
such a fucking child.
Yeah.
And God bless Liz Cheney for putting it in the congressional record, in the transcript. God love you. I never thought I would be a Liz Cheney fan, but Jesus love her. She actually said, for the congressional record, President Trump is a 74-year-old man. He's not a child. Greatest line in the history.
And I think they showed it. I think they probably showed that like recap like 50 million times. Like in the 24 hours after that, they must have shown that like.
She literally was like just a mom explaining to their young adult child, like how I would maybe talk to Nathan. Nathan, you are 24 years old.
Right.
Get a grip.
Right.
You're not a child anymore. Like, oh God bless her. But Trump apparently threw his lunch up against the wall like a
and it
child.
wasn't the first time.
Like a child. And I loved, God bless Cassidy Hutchinson, when she's like, when she asked her, is this the first time he threw dishes? Her response, the way she said it, she's like, no, the president has thrown dishes. I've known several times. Like, she's so quiet. No, ma'am, he's thrown dishes.
Right. And she was like,
she's
they were like,
battered spouse.
They were like, what did you do next? I helped the attendant clean it up again.
It's just, God love that.
Yeah.
little girl.
She was like, what else do you do?
We'll talk more about Cassidy
what?
Hutchinson.
And you know
here
what
in a
is
minute.
so crazy? Like those guys that are like the staff, like the butlers and the attendants,
yeah,
and the
the
maids,
valets and
the
stuff.
valets, all that stuff. They're not allowed to say shit.
No.
They're not allowed to say anything. Like, hey, bro, you're way out of fucking line. Don't be throwing shit all over the place.
Yeah.
They can't.
Like, asshole, I gotta clean that up.
Right, and they can't go home and be like, let me tell you what this crazy kook just did today.
Of course
they
not.
can't do that kind of stuff.
No. So Trump lost his shit, and at that point, Barr quit. Barr's last day was like the day, like Christmas Eve, because he's a fucking coward. Trump, now this is where it gets interesting. Trump tried to replace the acting AG with an environmental lawyer nobody had ever fucking heard of, who they actually have the letter they were going to send. This was just like a Trump sycophant who's like a low-level environmental guy, never tried a case, never done a trial ever, that Trump was going to make the AG simply because he was a sycophant, and wrote a letter saying that he as the acting AG was going to send to all of the contested states, saying, "Oh, there's proof of massive fraud in the vote, and you need to recertify it." That was their grand master plan. The actual Team Normal was like, this is a murder-suicide pact, okay? Because it's like, if anybody knows anything about Watergate, Nixon they call it Bloody Sunday or something. He kept firing attorney generals after attorney generals after attorney generals until he got to the one that would do his bidding. Yep. And the guys in the room, the actual acting AG and their deputies, flat out told the president. And this is why I think he didn't do it. The only reason, not because it was right, but because one of them brilliantly pointed out how it was going to look. Not what it was going to do, how it was going to look.
Right.
He's like, the story is not going to be this letter that, we found massive fraud when everybody knows we haven't.
Right.
The story is going to be, you fired X, Y. You had one quit, one fired, replaced him with this environmental guy.
And you got you kept going until you got somebody who would do what you wanted.
When everybody else told you. Now, the other thing is everybody's going to quit, and that's also going to be the story. And I think that's the only reason Trump didn't do it. That's the only fucking reason.
We know it is.
So the fake electors, the certificates, the plan was to mix up the certificates, to put in fake electors that are going to present certificates for Trump, but there will be the same number of certificates for Biden, and they'll go to Pence, and Pence will get confused, and Pence will be like, well, we don't know who the winner is, so we'll just have to send it to the House of Representatives. Like, that was their plan.
So I know they bring them out in that big box, right?
Right.
They bring them out in that big, but in my head, I'm thinking that they've already looked at these. Mm-hmm. They've already, because this is just everything that they show us is they're just going through the motions, right?
They already know what's happening.
They already know what's happening. They're just going because it's all pomp and circumstance.
But they thought Pence could be a good actor.
They thought that he would be. Yeah, they thought Pence was just going to be like, okay, guys. And he was like, no, I have a small shred of decency
that he found
and morals left.
He dug deep.
And God damn it, this is wrong.
Thank you.
Mother said I couldn't.
Mother said no.
Yeah.
I can't play today. So even the Ron Johnson of it all is the part that breaks my brain. Okay. He is a senator from Wisconsin. Not all of the fake electors actually got to the Capitol, but Wisconsin's fake electors did.
Right.
Which the 1-6 Commission has. What I am saying right now, what we are discussing, these are proven facts. They have evidence and paperwork and texts and witnesses to back it all up. I'm not saying this is hypothetical.
It's not like this is just something that liberals and...
No, these are the Republicans telling
made
us
up.
this.
It's nobody made this up. This is all proven to be factual. It's what has happened.
Yes.
It is what has happened. And they thought that because he had done such a huge smear campaign for the year and a half or so leading up to the election, that everybody would just go quietly into the night. If he said that it was a stolen election, then it's got to be right.
He's a child that nobody has ever told.
I told you from the minute he came down that fucking escalator with his big fat ass. He was not running for president. He was running for king. And somebody, I think Joe Scarborough or somebody mentioned that. Yeah. The other day, because they were talking about Bannon, and that's when they called him. He thought he was going to be a kingmaker.
Absolutely.
They thought that Bannon was going to be a kingmaker.
And he's just a weird slug person.
With 6 shirts on.
Thank you.
He's a herpy. He looks like a herpy to me.
He really does. He's not. Yeah, that's a whole other situation.
Yeah.
So the Senator Ron Johnson of it all, apparently the fake electors got to the Capitol and got into the hands, were delivered to Ron Johnson's office, and Ron Johnson... his chief of staff, not some low-level staffer, Ron Johnson, senator,
not a secretary,
senator of the United States, okay? His chief of staff tried, it's all in text, tried to deliver the fake electors to Mike Pence. But Mike Pence and his staff knew that shit was coming, and his staffer, when he texted him saying, hey, I've got these certificates, the staffer knew what the fuck it was, and he was like, under no circumstances will you get near the vice president with that shit. Back the fuck off.
Right.
And then when Ron Johnson is confronted about this, he's like, well, I don't know. Somebody delivered some papers to me and said it was for Mike Pence, and I work for the Postal Service now, and I don't know. Like, okay.
Rain, sleet, or snow.
The Pony Express. That's what we're doing. Just call me Senator Pony Express. Fuck right off. And then running away from reporters, he pretends to be on a phone call. That's my favorite thing in the world.
That's the best. With it all blacked out.
And the reporter calls him out. He's like, I'm on a call. And the reporter's like, no, you're not. I can see your phone. And the fact that he goes with the lie. He doesn't
commitment
put
to the role.
He really did. Like, that's some Emmy level commitment. He does not put the phone down, even though he knows he's caught. He knows there's nobody on that fucking phone. He's not even pretending to have a conversation, but he just holds it there. Frozen, not quite sure what to do. He's holding a phone with nobody on the line.
I'm gonna call, guys. Keep it down.
And then finally he just doesn't say goodbye, doesn't do anything, just puts it down. Like, he's just like, fine, I'm defeated. It's so fucking funny. They played that clip like 60 times. And God bless that reporter. No, you're not. I can see your screen. It's like, fuck off, you moron. Oh, my God. Okay, so at this point, let's just recap and then we'll get into the dangerous stuff. Okay, so at this point, Trump has declared himself to be the victor. That was his plan the whole time, right? His attorney general has shut him down. The attorney general's office, after Barr left, shut him the fuck down, right? The states that he was trying to influence.
Supreme Court.
Shut him the fuck down. The Supreme Court, like, the Pence shut him down.
Did they say there were like 30 lawsuits that he filed?
60,
was it
61?
Okay. Or
yeah. 62 and he won one.
Yeah.
And even the win was
sketchy as shit, probably.
So,
but it's
point,
even his appointed judges, the ones that he appointed, are like,
oh yeah, this judge that's overseeing Bannon's trial.
Oh, he's
Trump
not having any of
him.
it.
Trump nominated him.
Yeah,
he's a Trump judge, and you know why? I think that's why he's being a hard ass, because he's like, ain't nobody gonna link me to this with bullshit.
Right. I guess he was saying something about, because they had asked for a continuance yesterday.
Oh yeah,
and he said,
like, nope.
I would think about maybe a week, and then he came back a couple minutes later and said, you know what? I don't even think I would give you a day.
No,
fuck off.
You don't have a defense.
You have
that's
nothing.
And
right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But anyway, so now we get into the real dangerous part, because if you think about all those avenues, the AG's office, his vice president, the states, all of them have shut him down. Right. He is trying everything humanly possible, and they are shutting him down. So now we get into the dangerous part. The plan. This was this hearing was just like blew my brain wide open. The plan was always to march to the ellipse, or march from the ellipse to the Capitol, right? And Trump's plan was to go with them. And what I think he thought, this is truly what I think he thought one of two things was going to happen. One, he was going to march with them. They were going to bully their way into the House, into the Senate, fuck it up, right? And then he could stand up and say, and declare himself king. Pretty much.
I know.
Right?
I know that's what it was.
Or the other option is they were going to barge in there and literally hold Pence hostage and say, either you confirm that I'm the president, right? Which you don't have the authority to do, but we're saying you do, so just do it. Or we whisk you away out of the Capitol, which Pence knew they were going to do, which is why he refused to get in that Secret Service car. We'll talk about that in a minute, right? Or we whisk you away out of the Capitol, and Trump goes out there and says, we can't complete the certification because of the safety issue. And Mike Pence has left. And since the vice president isn't here, I'm going to declare myself the victor. That is what he fucking thought.
And in the
his
meantime,
mob was gonna burrow their way through the Capitol until he got up there.
And in the meantime, they would have tortured, beat, and killed anybody who tried to stand in their way. Because
especially if Trump was there.
Especially if Trump was there.
They would have slaughtered people in front of him.
To make him happy. His dick would have been so hard. He would have.
It was hard anyway.
Watching it on TV. He was so fucking excited.
Which we're gonna hear about tomorrow. God, I can't wait.
I cannot wait.
So that was the plan. But Pence, this whole Secret Service thing, I'm sorry, this reeks. The Secret Service is saying they don't have
the text messages.
From those 2 days.
Yeah. When they were told like a week before, a week after when you do your backup, make sure you save all of those because we're going to need them.
But they were
They were
on the
told.
part of the story that kills me. The Secret Service agents were literally on the honor system. They were like, if you think it's relevant, make sure to save it.
Right. But
And magically, and what freaks me out, here's what scares the living shit out of me. It honestly does. Because there's no way this was a system migration thing that we can't recover and blah, blah, blah. What scares the shit out of me is you're telling me that they were on the honor system. So separately, all of them decided at the same time to delete their text. That's terrifying. They were.
Yeah,
feel
no.
Part of it.
Yeah, and then like
They
I
were
forget the
fucking part
lady's
of it.
name. She works. I forget. Damn, it's either the Washington Post or the New York Times.
Oh yeah, the lady that wrote the book,
Right.
Carol Leonnig.
Yes, her. So she was, me, because she this morning she said, I can't really say, certain things. So, so Mika asked her, okay, so this is the agency that whenever there is a threat to our country, our president, blah, 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 they're able to, in a matter of minutes, find cell phone text messages, phone calls, emails, but now they mysteriously can't get those text messages. And she kind of said, like that's something that's been sticking in my mind too, as well as most of America's at this point.
It's the 18 and a half deleted minutes of the Nixon tapes.
Right.
That's what it is.
And then on top of that, like she brought up a good point. It's not just the shit about Trump, but it's the, inner commingling in the office with, the sexually explicit messages. And they're saying, that some of these, a majority of these security detail folks they were MAGA supporters.
Oh, yeah.
They were on Facebook,
The guy that Cassidy Hutchinson was talking about, Tony Ornato,
Mm-hmm.
Tony Ornato was his Secret Service guy.
Yeah.
That he convinced to take a leave from the Secret Service to take a political position for him.
Yeah.
You're telling me that guy that gave him a political position,
Yeah.
or that was given a political position, who left the Secret Service to work for him privately,
Yeah.
is gonna just tell the truth?
Yeah.
If he is enslaved to Trump, I don't trust a fucking word
Nothing.
out of your
And I
mouth.
gotta say-
you could tell me the sky is blue and the grass is green, and I would not motherfucking believe you.
So I got like you said a while ago, that you have a little bit of respect for Pence now. Yeah, and I hate that I do.
I hate that I do.
I hate that I do.
I fucking hate it.
But whenever they were saying, they were, come on, Mr. Vice President, we have to get you out of here. I'm not going anywhere. And part of it was probably fear, because he knew he was going to be fucking kidnapped. But
Yeah.
some of it too was, my people aren't able to leave, so I'm not leaving.
And if you think that it's impossible that they would kidnap somebody for shit like this, just Google Martha Mitchell.
Yes. So have you? Okay. Did you watch?
Yeah,
did you
watched
watch
it all.
Gaslit?
Watched it
I
all.
love that show. Yeah, and that.
There's a documentary about her on
Yes,
Netflix.
I know, on Netflix.
Watch that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. 'Cause-
Nixon's. She was Martha Mitchell was married to President Nixon's attorney general. She fucking knew as soon as word broke about Watergate that Nixon did it. She knew it. She
was not afraid to
she
say it.
she refused to believe her husband was involved, even though he was, and he fucked
And
her.
can
in
I
the
just
end.
say that I did not realize that was Sean Penn until I was about
Oh, I
5
know.
episodes in, and I
know,
was
you're
like,
wait a minute.
did that say Sean Penn is in here? So then I had to Google it, and I was like, shut the fuck up.
I know, it's ridiculous. But there's a show called Gaslit. Julia Roberts plays Martha Mitchell. But here's the thing. Martha Mitchell knew right from the jump that Nixon did this, and they literally kidnapped her and held her hostage because they knew she would
Beat her
run
up?
out- Yeah, she would run out to a microphone and run her mouth.
She was on the Newlywed Game.
Oh,
She was on
she
the Dick
was
Cavett
wild.
show. She was on Larry King. She went on every fucking show she could, and they were like, so what
She
you
was
got to
already
say?
like a sideshow in
She
Washington.
really was.
She wasn't a typical Washington wife. Nixon thought she was funny. like because she made the administration look kind of light and airy and blah blah blah, and she would go out and she would talk to the press and she would make funny jokes and she would say things that upper class Washington D.C. wives would never
say that,
but she would just say it. So the press was infatuated with her, and when Watergate went down and she's like you picked up on it in a fucking heartbeat, they held her fucking hostage. So don't tell me that it's not possible that that's what they were fucking planning. And guess who was part of it? The Secret fucking Service. So
yeah, Mr. Vice President, come with us.
Yeah.
We're going to get you in.
One smart thing Pence ever did was not just to save the country, maybe to save his own life.
Yeah, because he was...
Because God only knows what these maggots were going to do to him.
Yeah, because there was one point where he was saying, I'm not going. My people aren't going. I'm not going. Yeah. I need to stay here with them. But then, that's probably... some of it, but a majority of it was he knew. He knew. Yeah. He's been around this man for the last 5-6 years. He knew what kind of fucking cretin he was. Mm-hmm. He knew that he was not above having him kidnapped to get what he wanted.
Absolutely not. Once again, it's the serial killer thing. They've given him these little allowances, and that's how I feel about him. They keep giving him these little allowances that it's not the serial killer giving themselves the allowances. It's the cult leaders' people give it. Nobody stood up to him. No. Nobody stopped him in a yes, there were people along the way like Barr, but nobody did it in a meaningful way to stop him.
I think if someone like Ivanka Trump would have said, Dad.
I think she did.
Dad. Yeah, well.
I think she did.
After watching that documentary.
I think his head was too
I think
far
he's
gone.
mentally unstable.
I think he was in a fever-pitched, adrenaline, testosterone he got fucking off on all these people. Literally destroying. Here's the thing. You know what? Here's how I feel. He's watching these people beat up cops, bear spray, poles, spears. He's watching this shit, right? And it's making him hard as hell because he is looking at it like they're doing this because I told them to.
Right. This is all for me.
I have this power. Yeah. And him realizing he had that power, I'm telling you, it was too much of a high. It was adrenaline, it was testosterone, and it was a fucking high of watching people. He literally got off on watching those people destroy their own lives. Yeah. Because they're going to jail. Yeah. They're going to jail. And not only destroying their lives, destroying these cops' lives. Oh. I can't tell you the number of times I have watched that Eugene Goodman clip. The guy running up the stairs and distracting them,
keeping them kind of luring them out someplace else. Yeah, that.
Every time I watch it, I get chills. I'm like, that man literally saved our country with one little shove to attract that dude the opposite direction. That dude literally saved because the senators weren't out. The Senate chamber was right there.
Right there,
and they were not evacuated. Had they gone the other way, they would.
And it was so scary.
Oh my God.
I remember because I was working.
We'd
from
be in
home
fucking
then.
Handmaid's Tale right now.
Yeah.
Had Eugene Goodman not done that,
well, and they were so. And whenever we're watching this entire hearing, and was it the last one that they had where they were talking? Yes, it was Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. Last Tuesdays, whenever they were talking about these different groups, like the Proud Boys and the National, whatever these other fuck nuts are, all these weirdos in these groups, and they were having text messages and social media, and they were talking about killing all the Democrats. And
that's the moment.
And I messaged Laura because I was working from home.
Upset.
I was very upset. And when David got home, I was almost in tears. And I was like, these people wanted to kill. They wanted to. I said, we saw it on the videos, and we saw how worked up and irate they were. I said, but then whenever you see it in these messages through social media and texts and all this stuff in these groups that they have,
terrifying.
And it was... I said, it really would have been. It would have been a civil war.
Absolutely.
It would have been a civil war.
Absolutely.
I said, and that's what they wanted. They're over there screaming 1776 and everything else. I said, and then you see these text messages. I mean, most of the time you think about these people and you're like, you fucking hillbilly.
Yeah.
You know. But then whenever you see that, and I messaged Laura and I was like, wait until you fucking see this part, because she was working, so was I, but I was in training, so I could kind of, and I had just
to
gone
to handle some
and
things
I had
there.
just gone to lunch, and I was downstairs and I was doing laundry and I was listening to it, and the way my laundry room is, it's downstairs and it's like tucked away, and I had the TV on and I was listening, and when I heard that, I had to come around the little corner and look at it, and I was just like, oh my God. Oh, and I'm just standing there with clothes in my hand, like shaking, and I was like, oh.
See, that part really affected you, but it did affect me too. But here's where I was like, oh my God, this is literally the moment that I was standing in my bedroom, the TV was on, and this came up on the screen, and I sat down, and I was like, there it is. There it is. That's what we needed. There it fucking is. It was the text with the one of the organizers or whatever of the rally, right? To the fucking MyPillow guy.
Yes.
That said specifically, he's talking to the MyPillow guy who can wander into the White House for a meeting whenever the fuck he feels like it.
Him and Rudy.
And he says to the MyPillow guy, the plan, I cannot stress that word enough. The plan is that Trump will spontaneously call for us to walk down to the Capitol. But we can't tell anybody because it has to look spontaneous.
Yeah, don't tell anyone. I can get in trouble.
And the text of Trump's speech do not show the call for the march to the Capitol. He ad-libbed that. You're telling me this random Yahoo talking to the MyPillow guy who's got Trump's ear just happens to know this information?
Right.
I'm sorry. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Right?
Yeah.
I don't need that text. That's where I sat down because I thought, and I even told my mom, I said, I really didn't believe before the 1-6 hearing started, I didn't believe they'd be able to get through all the layers of people and
but how
things.
they built up to it. This led to this, and then this led to this, and then this led to this.
But my question was, how do you get, because Trump doesn't text, he doesn't email, he doesn't do any of that shit. So how are you going? And this, that
he's
was my
got his fucking monkeys doing all of it.
But that was my question the whole time. And then I saw that text.
Yeah, that.
That motherfucker knew his plan. The only person who knew his plan, who told him?
Right. So when David came home, he was like, so how was your episode? You know?
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God. So I started telling him everything, and then he started watching, when he got home that day, I think Joy was on or something, right? So he started watching Joy read, and then they were talking about it, and I said, okay, so, because I had been texting him throughout the day like I was you, because he was like, yeah, keep me updated.
Yeah.
It's okay. So, and I was like in the fucking MyPillow guy, and then it came up. The whole thing came up on Joy's show, and I was like, watch this.
There it is.
And he watched it, and David just looked at me, and he was like, wow.
There it is.
I said, yeah.
I never thought they would get that close. And here's the thing. We still have one more hearing to go, people.
Right.
What are they going to say? But there's a little bit more I do want to talk about. This is the other thing that I was like, okay, this is exhibit A, B, C, D, whatever in the criminal trial. He knew the rioters were armed with guns, knives, AKs, pipes, spears, flagpoles into spears, tear gas, bear spray, flak jackets, and gas masks. And he said to take away the magnetometers, which are the metal detectors, take them away, let my people in. They're not here to hurt me. In other words, he knew they were here with weapons, which obviously they're here to hurt somebody. And your plan, when you put that together with the text, your plan is to send them down to the Capitol.
And now that
you know they're armed,
right? And they're to not hurt you, to do your bidding, and you want to walk down there, but your Secret Service said no. probably okay. Here's my thought on that though. With the Secret Service saying
let's talk
no.
about the Secret Service.
The
thing.
Secret Service says no, but now we know that they were all.
But here's where
they were there. They were some. But
I have an answer for it. Here's my prediction. Let me predict this real quick. Okay, this is my prediction for this finale.
Wait, because I have one. So what?
I'm doing fan fiction.
So
of the one.
So I have a thought too, though. Okay,
finish your thought.
So my thought is, it's all staged. It's all staged. His whole fucking life is staged, right? This whole fucking thing is staged so that he can be the king.
Absolutely.
The Secret Service won't let me go down there.
Yeah.
I really want to be with my people. So now he looks like...
No, he wanted to go.
No. He wanted to go, yes. But if the Secret Service... Just, Mr. President, we can't allow that, right? Because remember how they lost their shit on Inauguration Day when Barack Obama was going down Pennsylvania Avenue and he broke out the line and Secret Service just took off running and flipped the fuck out, right? Mm-hmm. So, you kind of have to abide by what Secret Service wants you to do whenever you're the president. Mm-hmm. So now he's at Secret Service's. We all know he's a fucking chicken shit pussy boy, right? He didn't want to go down there and get in the fucking mix with all that shit until
he wanted to march in
until it was done or it was safe or because there was.
I think he wanted them to drive. This is one theory. I think he wanted them to drive him down in the SUV and just sit and wait.
Until it was go time.
Until the crowd had gotten into the Capitol.
I can see that too.
Okay,
I can see that too.
But here was my question. Here's my lingering doubt that I was like, how the fuck? Why? I'm confused. Please explain it to me like I am a 5-year-old. But I think I have a theory as to why. What happened, okay? Why, if Tony Ornato and the rest of the Secret Service was so fucking loyal to him, right? Even if it was just a couple of them. Even if it was just Tony Ornato. Why did Tony Ornato not take him to the Capitol? If that was the plan, why would Tony Ornato not take him? And here's why. I think the reason that Trump flipped out and tried to grab for the steering wheel and his clavicles was I think that they did have Tony had agreed to it. But I think Patsy Baloney got to him. And I think that's going to be part of the testimony.
Got to who? Trump?
No,
got to Tony Ornato.
Oh. I think he told, because you remember with the Cassidy Hutchinson testimony, what did she say? Everybody, Tony or not Tony Ornato, Pat Cipollone, and
keep him away from
McCarthy.
Keep him away from there.
They were saying, and especially Cipollone was saying, we are going to get charged with every crime imaginable if we make that move happen. I think that Tony Ornato agreed to the plan. And then Cipollone ran around to everybody. Cassidy Hutchinson, there's no way she's the only person he said that to.
Right.
He told all of them. I am at the White House counsel. I am the lawyer, and I am telling you,
we'll all go to
prison. And I think he got to him right before Trump got in that car. And when Trump was like, it's go time, and Tony Ornato said no, I think that's why he flipped the fuck out.
Be.
Now, there's two things. Pat Cipollone testified. I have a feeling he's going to say, they're going to ask him, because that's not privileged. Did you tell Tony Ornato
to nix the plan? Like, don't do it?
Did you tell him?
Did you tell him that?
That's question number one. And question number two, guess who they have sworn testimony from? A D.C. Capitol police officer who was in the SUV, because they always have to have a liaison with local police to coordinate. So there was a D.C. cop in the SUV, and he confirmed under oath to the committee that the story that Tony Ornato told Cassidy Hutchinson was correct. So fuck off, Secret Service. I will take his word under oath over your back channel bullshit. Well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a couple of.
That's my theory.
There's a couple of. So I'm really,
because that was the hole that I couldn't quite fill.
I want to see, and now they're saying that he's gonna. They say that he's gonna run for president and try to win again or whatever. So because they can't, you cannot indict a sitting president. but
You can, but it's just there's just a policy. It's not a law.
It's
just a policy.
right. It's right. I mean, he was impeached twice, and the only reason he was not charged with anything was because
he was a sitting president.
He was a sitting president, and
that's what Mueller
he
said.
they had control of the House.
The first time he beat impeachment because he was a sitting president. The second time he beat impeachment because he wasn't a sitting president. Their argument was, we don't have jurisdiction because he's not the president anymore. That was the fucking technicality that Mitch McConnell stood on.
But
Suck my dick, Mitch McConnell. Turn into a real turtle and just go away. Okay, so we have to talk about the craziest meeting in the history of the Trump presidency. This was before. This was the night Trump sent the text. The text heard round the world saying, "Be there on January 6th, will be wild." That was, and it was obvious. The Twitter person testified as soon as he tweeted that was the call. It wasn't even like a dog whistle. It was just a flat out whistle to his people who were online openly talking about, oh, he's telling us to come and kill.
And I think that there were a lot of people like you and I and other like-minded individuals and people who knew that this whole thing was probably going to get out of hand.
Yeah.
Who had been saying for a while, this is not going to end well.
Right.
These people are crazy.
We kept saying it.
I still see just the other day, I took
I know.
this fucking that picture of the guy. Like,
still Trump tards around blocking traffic with their fucking flags and bullshit.
Right. Blocking all the traffic, just being a total
Honestly,
fucking
if
douche.
I ever get stuck behind one of them, I worry I'm going to turn into Kathy Bates in Fried Green Tomatoes. And just start ramming their car. You remember when she rammed?
Yeah.
I'm older and I have better insurance. Face it, girls. Like, that was amazing. Okay, but we have to talk about the craziest meeting in the Trump presidency. So at this point, before the ellipse, we're going a little bit backwards here. Before the ellipse, Trump was grasping at straws. Like, he had run out of options. Right?
He couldn't do anything legally.
The attorney general had said there was no fraud. He had already put in his resignation, but hadn't left yet. He couldn't replace him. Like, the states weren't cooperating. The fake electors thing wasn't working. Like, it was just a big, giant fucking mess. Right? So one night after most people had left, all of a sudden, right, some of the lower level staffers that were there realized that the crazies had wandered in.
That shit was cracking me up. How the fuck does the My Pillow guy and Rudy the Gargoyle Giuliani get to just wander around the fucking residence of the White House?
We got Trader Flynn, Gargoyle Giuliani, Slug Bannon, the My Pillow guy, the Kraken crackpot, and the Overstock guy. Okay, Sidney Powell. I call her the Kraken crackpot. Okay, because that's what she fucking is.
What did I tell you? She is. What did I say? Oh, she is Donald Trump's Linda Tripp.
She is. Oh my God.
She's Donald Trump's Linda. Because the whole time I was watching, I was like,
Fuck.
who does she fucking remind me of?
Yeah.
All she's missing is a Slim Fast and a TV dinner.
I know. Fuck Linda Tripp.
But she's got her Diet Dr. Pepper.
Her and her Diet Dr. Oh my God.
And then the next
Poor
day,
Diet Dr. Pepper.
The next day, Joe was like, this is a great spokesperson for Diet Dr. Pepper.
Poor Diet Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's the official drink of old people. I'm sorry. It's so sad. Okay. But the fact that she's literally swigging it like a beer while she's testifying.
In the middle of the...
Do you know if I was testifying before Congress, even over Zoom, I would just be complete. I would be like in a blazer, and I would even have like professional.
She had on her best Walmart shirt and her Diet Dr. Pepper.
I know, and her glasses, and didn't do her hair, and she was sitting there like she was talking to her grandkids on Zoom, like, and she's testifying. Oh my God. Okay, so this basically the crazies wandered in, and they start presenting Trump with all these crazy fucking ideas, and the big idea was to appoint Sidney Powell. I know, Tanya. I literally.
This shit cracks me.
I got the first sentence out of this plan, and Tanya's already just dying. They were gonna appoint Sidney Powell in some sort of vague position similar to.
Wait, and to this day, she still doesn't know if she was or is or isn't.
Nobody
or
does.
Could be this person.
Because Trump was like, okay, you're you're special counsel, just like Mueller. Great, do it. But they didn't actually take any legal steps to actually make it happen. But the plan was to appoint her special counsel to investigate election fraud. And she would somehow, even though this special counsel role was not defined, what her parameters are, what authority she has, what clearance she has, nothing. But it would somehow give her the authority over the Department of Defense to seize all voting machines.
Oh, and let's not forget the wonky thermostats and
they're Flynn and Giuliani. They're
oh shit.
I know Tanya's dying. Their proof of the voter fraud was that somehow Venezuelan technology from Hugo Chavez, who died in 2012, by the way. Somehow Hugo Chavez from the grave, and China and other countries were changing votes in voting machines by hacking Nest thermostats. Okay. And they were going to prove it. And the Team Normal kept saying, prove it. And they were like, you have the proof. They were doing the gaslighting thing.
Right.
And Team Normal is like, what the fuck are you fucking talking about? You shit weasel fuck tangle mother shit. God damn it, motherfuck. Like they lost their
I just
shit.
picture somebody going off like the dad in A Christmas Story.
No, I picture them going off like Chevy Chase in
Christmas Vacation.
Yes, just when he finds out he's got the Jelly of the Month club and he's just like flipping the fuck out. Oh my God.
So when they were just like, so is it like,
they're like, how did you get in here?
And then Mark Meadows had to come back and escort crazy Giuliani out.
So backing up a little bit, before all this in the meeting, that was the plan. They were pitching to Trump, right? So what ended up happening was lower level people figured out they were there. They went and got or alerted Pat Cipollone, who apparently booked his ass down there along with, I think it was Hirschman.
Yeah.
The guy who's got the bat behind him on the wall that says justice.
It's just on it.
If y'all watch the hearings, this motherfucker, he's literally got a bat on the wall. It's a black bat that says justice. It's not in like a case or anything.
It's just a bat.
It is available for grabbage should the need arise.
On a whim.
That's literally what it is. It's not for a display. It's for use.
Yeah.
That's the only reason you have it there, for use.
Has to be.
Which is fascinating. He is my favorite. I wish he would testify in person because I want to see this guy. He's cursing all the way. He's like, what the fuck? Sorry, my bad. You're an effing moron. Like, he's just so funny. Oh my God, I love Hirschman. So basically, they booked their ass down to this meeting and Cipollone bursts in and the first person he sees is the Overstock guy. And he's like, who are you? And he just kept calling him the Overstock guy, which, by the way, the Overstock guy is the guy that his girlfriend turned out to be a Russian spy. Do you remember that? Like, that whole thing, it was whatever. So the Russian spy's ex-boyfriend is in the White House with the MyPillow guy, with Trader Flynn, it's not Trader Joe's, it's Trader Flynn's. Like, it's just
Rudy the Gargoyle Giuliani.
And they walk in and they're like, what the fuck is happening? Because you don't get to just take a meeting with the president whenever the fuck you feel like
in the personal residence.
No.
At that.
So this fight, apparently they start fighting and fucking Hirschman let Powell know about herself. We don't know specifically the verbiage, but it was very clear in his testimony. He told Sidney Powell about herself, which I would have paid so much money.
Doctors.
But apparently this fight literally was like an action movie where they're going to different rooms. You know, you see like a fight scene in a warehouse. They'll be fighting in one part of the warehouse and then they do some flips and they fight in a different part of the warehouse. They were fighting in the Oval. They were fighting in the Residence. They were fighting in the Yellow Oval. And then fucking Giuliani is literally in the White House planning a fucking coup of the United States government. And when he's recounting the story, he was like, yeah, I was in the cabinet room by myself.
That's pretty cool.
By myself. I like that. It's pretty cool. That's what you thought while you were planning. What you're
not very often. Just a normal person just gets to us.
You're testifying about trying to overthrow the United States government, right?
While your black hair dye is drooling down your face, you fucking weirdo.
Oh my God. It's so fucking painful. And the thing that I was like, please, God, let this help break the spell. They kept saying, oh, well, the Hirschman and Patsy Baloney were like, no, there's no evidence of fraud. You took all these cases to court, and even judges said no. And they were like, well, the judges are corrupt. And Hirschman was like, even ours? Because there were Trump appointee judges that ruled against him.
Get the fuck out.
And Hirschman was like, listen to you sound insane. Like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God. So finally, I guess the way that it ended was with Trump asking if he had the authority to appoint Sidney Powell as special counsel and if he had the authority to give her security clearance. And reluctantly, I guess, Patsy Baloney said yes. And he said, great, done. And then the meeting was over. But there was no, like, he said it, but there was no, like, official action, and everybody just ignored him.
There wasn't an official email or anything.
It's like when your grandpa says, like, you know what, you really need to go out there and pull those weeds.
And then
you just ignore him.
You just go make yourself a sandwich.
That's really what they did.
What they did. They just ignored him.
And honestly, that's kind of terrifying. Who's running the country? If we're not listening to the president and doing what the president says, who's the fucking... At that moment, we didn't have a president. If you're just... Or the president is Patsy Baloney, where he's just like, I choose what we do and what we don't. Like, that's terrifying too. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate they did it.
Right.
But at the same time, that's not a way to have a government. That's not a real government.
No, you just got the Three Stooges mucking around in the White House.
Oh my God. So they...
I think the last episode was one of the best ones.
Yes. So the showing up the night before and basically communicating what they were going to do with... Even on stage, they had like a rally the night before January 6th that was in the same spot that Trump specifically wanted to overhear. Oh, let's back up.
Remember on that documentary that we watched on Discovery Plus, how the night before he brought the whole staff into the Oval and had them open the door because he was just so fucking jazzed that he could hear them
and their speeches
and they're there for me and all that shit.
But we got to back up for just a second. So after that meeting, they've described it literally, it's become the stuff of legend, as they said in the hearing. After that meeting, Trump realized at that moment he was out of options. And that's when he sent the tweet saying, be there on January 6th. Everything online blew up. The plan started. They got tons of texts, tons of chats, tons of everything. It's fucking insane. But so all these crazies show up, and we know he heard it because there are witnesses saying he heard it. These people on stage saying it's 1776, we're out for blood and all this other bullshit. He heard it. He knew it. But the part that I'm like, okay, this is where obviously we know what happened next. But the only gap that we don't have is the 187 minutes.
Yep.
That we are going to hear about tomorrow night.
I cannot wait.
We are going to do another episode. We might have to do it virtually, or you can just come over after work. I don't really care. We'll figure it out because we're going to have like a whole episode. But here was the thing that was really early on in the hearings that I want to go back to. And then that's the end of my bullet points. But all the people that asked for fucking pardons. And fucking Kinzinger said it, and damned if he's not right. The only reason you ask for a pardon is if you are guilty.
Yeah.
There's no reason that these motherfuckers, and all of them, ones that Jim Jordan trying to get on the committee that's going to investigate him, that's some shit.
Sweaty little worm. I can't stand it.
So that's kind of our recap, but honestly, there's so much more we could talk about. Let's talk about the surprise Cassidy Hutchinson hearing.
Yes. So
Oh, we have not touched on that at all.
So we were in a fucking tizzy.
Oh, me and Tanya could not stop.
We were just like, oh my God, who do you think it is? Who do you think it is? Oh my God. Oh,
what
God.
are they going to say?
They're holding it. They're trying to say who it is because they're probably being threatened and da-da-da-da-da.
And then they were.
And they were.
We were right.
And yeah. And then when it finally broke who it was, we were just like, okay, so let's see. And
I'll link an article down below in this episode about her. I read about her college life, what her professors say, what her hometown, like what her college newspaper said, like all this stuff. She seemed to be like a really smart, not a hardline crazy conservative, but she worked for some pretty middle of the road, more showboat crazy than actual crazy. I think it was just more like for her it was a stepping stone. Yeah, exactly.
Stepping stone to get where she wanted to be.
But she was smart and she was driven, and everybody in that place knew her. All these reporters, as soon as her name broke, all these reporters were like, wait, Cassidy?
Yeah.
Like our Cassidy? Like they knew her. Like,
yeah. So this morning, the last 2 mornings, Joe Scarborough and damn it, I forget who was on there with him. He's the Mike. What's his
Mike
name?
Barnacle?
Mike Barnacle. They're a fucking trip. You can't,
they're hilarious.
You can't take those 2 jackasses anywhere.
No.
Why are they talking so much shit about Steve Bannon and his 6 shirt?
I know.
And so how that's like the old fat guy, and they love that he's committed to the role.
Oh, yeah.
As far as like his hairstyle, not shaving and wearing the 6 shirts. And is that some sort of mechanism? Like if you notice him in one shirt, can he take off the other shirt? I mean, just these guys have just
what it reminds me of? The first Wanda Sykes special. Back when she was married to a man, right? This is back in the day.
Right.
I remember this line in her stand-up special. She was talking about Bill Clinton and OJ.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, that's what you got to do. You got to stick with your lie. She was like, but Bill Clinton, once they got that dress, he didn't stick with the lie, right? She was like, OJ stuck with the lie. He got off. You got to stick with your lie. Right? And she told this whole story. And she actually kind of predicted the whole downfall of Tiger Woods. Because she was like, when he first came out, they were like, oh, this black kid. And then when he got a little bit more famous, they were like, oh, he's half black and half Asian. She's like, and then I read an article that he's like a quarter black. And she's like, the more famous he gets, the less black he gets. She's like, but when he gets in trouble, they're going to be like this black golfer.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Tiger Woods, the first black PGA tour, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, all of a sudden he got caught with the hookers. And
now he's black.
Now he's black.
Yeah.
But no, for me, this whole thing, like the last hearing was the most
intense.
I honestly felt after, like, I went to bed early that night. I needed a fucking nap.
I had to turn the news off.
I'm not going to lie. I had to get really high.
I had to turn Friends on.
Yeah.
And just veg out the rest of the day because
Absolutely.
I was mentally
that's it.
I was mentally just spent. I just could not do anything else.
I just couldn't believe what they had.
I could not believe what I had seen on the TV and seeing all of this evidence and seeing that what happened was horrible. But to think it could have been worse.
Yeah.
Like,
it's fucking terrifying.
It is absolutely terrifying.
It is next level terrifying. And we're not going to talk, just so you know, we're not going to talk about Roe v. Wade, which I know we want to scream and cry about, but we're waiting to do that with Jessica. That is, Can you tip your mic up?
Oh, who's our fertile myrtle?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I know, right? But no, that to me is, I really want to discuss that church.
Yeah.
I have an idea. We're not going to talk about it right now, but I have an idea.
But stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for some other stuff, because I've got some stuff we got to talk about. But anyway, this whole thing, just to wrap this up, I really think that the 1-6 committee has been absolutely masterful.
And poor Benny Thompson.
But Liz Cheney, I got to say,
I have new respect for her.
But here's what I respect from her. Her little on the next episode drops at the end of every hearing. She's done it in almost every hearing. At the end of the Cassidy Hutchinson hearing, she said, yo, Here are some text messages that some of our witnesses have gotten from Trump allies.
Sit on that and
We will take any attempt at influencing witnesses very seriously. She said that at the end of the next to the last hearing. And then motherfucking Trump didn't get the memo. Still, once again, he's a child. He's a serial killer. You give him a little bit and he just keeps taking more.
Yeah.
He's still not punished. What did he do? He called a witness we haven't even heard from. And at the very end, after all of the evidence that they just presented, how could you overshadow it? How could you overshadow the text and the evidence and everything we just saw? Liz Cheney managed to do it by at the end of it saying, and by the way, President Trump seems to be engaging in witness tampering. We've sent that evidence over to the Justice Department. Have a nice day. I'm going to drop the motherfucking mic like Chris Rock, bitch. That was Liz Cheney, man.
We know what you did, Dawn. We know.
Damn it. I don't want to love her. I really, really
but
don't.
She is, you know what? And I respect
I wish she was on our side.
I
wish she was a progressive. Do you know how much we could get accomplished?
I know, right? But she's not going to be in her position anymore.
I know.
She's not, she's losing her job. She's losing her job.
I don't know if she's going to lose. I really don't know.
I don't know.
I think the polls, I think the polls are, I don't know. I got to look at the polls again.
Yeah, but we know the polls aren't really reliable.
But it's the primary. That's all she's got to win is the primary.
Right.
It's
but we know the polls aren't necessarily.
But here's the thing, George, because you know George and his sister lives in Wyoming. We go there a lot. I told you about my niece's graduation from the by the way, my niece graduated. She's now an elementary school art teacher.
Yay!
So proud of her for being a teacher. It's a very brave job.
Yeah,
to
it
have
is.
at this
Jesus
point.
Christ.
Good Lord. Oh my God, Uvalde. I'll shut up. Anyway, this is something that George's family explains to me consistently. Wyoming people are not necessarily Republicans. They're not necessarily libertarians. They are conservatives, okay? But in their mind, they are more Reagan conservatives. The big tent, like, they're not libertarian, like, we don't want the government.
You do what's morally right.
Exactly.
And do what's better for your human, fellow man.
Wyoming is more, and I experience this. Wyoming is the you do you boo-boo state, okay? And I'll tell you why I say that. We went to my niece's, and this was on the news. You can verify it. It fucking happened, okay? My niece graduated from the University of Wyoming. I'm so fucking proud of her. She's like the third generation to graduate from this prestigious college, right? Her grandfather was on the board of trustees of the college. Wow. Her grandfather is a big goddamn deal in the state of Wyoming. I won't go into any more detail to identify him, but he's a big deal. This was a big, huge moment for our family. I'm going to cry. It really made me sad. And Sophie she's the oldest. She's the first grandbaby, and she's graduating from college. My sister-in-law is just a puddle of tears. She's so emotional.
They have how many girls? They have 4.
Yeah. And this is her first baby graduating college. And she knows she's about to move out of state. Like, it was emotional. So we're all super emotional about this. I've known Sophie since she was little. I've told the story where she was like, I guess George doesn't tell his girlfriends everything. Like, that's how I met her.
Right.
I'll tell that story later sometime. But she's absolutely adorable. And we go to this big graduation. It's in their basketball arena. It's huge. Yeah. This is the biggest group of kids I think they had that were graduating. Like, it's like 300 kids or something ridiculous, right? And the keynote speakers get up and they're doing their thing, blah, blah, blah. But the big speaker was the senator. I think her name is Kathy Loomis, I think. I could be wrong about her name. She's the female senator from the state of Wyoming. And she gets up to give her commencement speech, which she said was going to be short, and it was like 30 minutes. Bitch, that's too long. That's number one. Number two, the first thing she says is talking about being a teacher. She's like, I got 3 pieces of advice for you. She's like, oh, you're going to be a teacher in moments in your life and blah, 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 blah. And then she launches into what seemed to be a timeshare style sales pitch for Bitcoin. Like literally went on and on and on about how Bitcoin is the future and the state of Wyoming needs to get on board and all you need to get on board with Bitcoin. And it literally was like a Bitcoin pitch meeting. And everybody in the room is looking around like, where are we?
Right, what happened?
Did we get teleported to an alternate dimension? What the fuck is happening, right? And then she starts talking about gender and
Jesus,
and how science is under attack and how they're saying there's not even men and women or something like that. And I didn't know this, but apparently there was a kid in this class, a trans kid, who killed themselves that would have graduated, I believe. So this is a very sensitive topic. But here's the thing. I'm in Wyoming.
Right.
I don't know how the crowd is going to react to this woman saying these things. And I'm the lone progressive feeling like I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. I'm not saying shit because I don't want these hillbillies to kill me. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just calling it
right.
like I see it. Just trying to be safe. I don't know who I'm sitting near. But as soon as she said it, the fucking room erupted in boos. Like, and it's on YouTube. You can hear it. You can't hear it. The sound didn't pick up that good. But let me tell you, if you were in that auditorium,
sure, yeah,
it was loud and long. And she just was like, and she just kept going and kept going. And literally, my sister-in-law is at the other end of the aisle with all of our family sitting in between us. My sister-in-law is texting me, this fucking hoe bag is ruining my oldest baby's graduation. Like, oh my God, she was pissed. She was pissed. Her husband was pissed. My in-laws were, everybody was just outraged, right? And the thing I took away from it, and George, he's like, this is what I've been trying to explain to you for years. Wyoming is the state of Matthew Shepard.
Yeah.
This state remembers that scar, okay?
Yeah.
They remember that. And they are very much a you do you boo-boo state. Right. They can't quite get behind the liberals and the progressives.
Right, but you're not hurting me.
No, and that's the thing. And the thing I saw, and it's what gives me hope. Can't believe I'm saying this. It's what gives me hope that Liz Cheney will be reelected.
Yeah.
Because they're not full on. They're not the evangelicals.
Right.
Okay, they're just average church-going people.
Simple, just
they're not they're like I said, they're not the evangelicals, they're not the Baptists, they're just quiet. We just want to do our own thing, raise our family in peace and quiet.
Right.
Like, fucking leave us alone. That's all they are.
Unlike my father's family, who's all in Missouri, and
Missouri's just a weird state. I love Kathleen Madigan, and she's correct. It's just a weird state that can't make up its mind.
These are just some of the most backwards ass hillbilly fucking living in the woods, drinking bush beer, catching fish with your hands. Thinking
they call that noodling.
Whatever the fuck it's called.
It's where they
I know. Yeah, where
they stick their hand in a catfish breeding hole and they wait till the catfish bites it and then they pull it out and they've caught a fish.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are,
sometimes they die because catfish can grow up to be 250 pounds.
Yeah, and there are huge ones in the Lake of the Ozarks. There's fucking huge ones.
Look it up.
Yeah. So, I mean, but they're different.
They're different than Wyoming.
They're very different. They're very different,
So that, yeah. So that is our 1-6 road so far. I'm going to try really, really hard to get this out tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off, but I'm going to try really hard.
Okay.
We're going to have like our season finale episode. And believe me, I have some plans going forward for recording. So we'll get there.
And now that I work right around the corner from your house.
Exactly. You can just come over after work. We don't even have to worry about a weekend day. We can just do it after work. So,
yeah.
Okay. So sorry if this was not your cup of tea. We had to get it out. We were so excited to talk about it because it's been out of control.
I know.
I saw the two witnesses. One of them was in the press office, the girl, and the other one I think was part of the legal team. Or no, he was on the National Security Council. That's what he was. So we've got the PR people or person and the national security person, who I guarantee you the national security person is going to be talking about how he didn't call in the National
National
Guard.
Guard. He didn't do shit. And like I told you, I really think at this point, once this is all said and done, they really need to charge him with inciting violence in a riot, sedition, murder, attempted murder. Like, there are so many charges that can stem from this.
Honestly,
for him.
I really hope, part of me hopes Georgia charges him.
Yeah.
And he just gets in trouble there and just goes away.
But he'll never go away. He will never fully go away, though.
We are very excited for Thursday. We hope you guys are excited for Thursday.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
We will get back. I have a whole plan. I had a whole plan for regular episodes. Those will be coming back. Please know they will. We're going to figure that out. But in the meantime, stay safe out there. Keep yourself informed. Don't get sucked into a cult. Dear God, we love you.
Yeah.
Okay, and thank you for sticking with us through our very long break. So until next time, I'm Lara Mack.
And I'm Tanya Edwards.
Love your faces.
Smooches.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.